I'm Molly Deutschbein, craniosacral therapist, massage therapist, doula, and I consider myself an infant feeding specialist when it comes to bodywork. Sometimes I see infants for other reasons too, like torticollis or head shape issues. But I wanted to show you today what happens when you bring your little one for a visit. Often people are concerned that this work is going to be rough or pushy with their babies, so I just wanted to give you a sense of what we do when people bring their babies into my office. The first thing that happens is when you make an appointment, you get a link to a form that you can print and fill out and bring with you. I need that form, and it's kind of detailed because it's both for little tiny babies and for teenagers, because it's my whole pediatric client population. But the reason why infants need to be filling out these forms is because even though they may only be 2 weeks or even less old when I see them, they've already been in the womb for 9 months. Plus they had the birth process, plus whatever you've been noticing so that you wanted to bring your baby in or had a consultation with an IBCLC, or maybe your sister just said, hey, go see Molly, maybe she can help things get better. Whatever reason you have for coming to see me, we want to explore not only what you're thinking about today, but ways that while baby was growing in your womb, that some of the structures might have been affected, because the parts that the baby feeds with, the whole mechanism of sucking, swallowing, and breathing, a lot of that is already established at 6 to 8 weeks of embryological development, and then it's affected as baby is inside the uterus by how baby's positioned. Was baby breeched the whole time, maybe with a cord, or was baby sitting in the womb, I'll stand up, sitting in the womb in such a way that their head was in a weird place, or in a strange place, or in a strange place. So we don't know how baby was in there, and that could be affecting whether, like if baby has a torticollis like this, right? Or like this, or like this. All of those things could influence baby's suck, because when baby is not symmetrical, the way baby's mouth works on the breast is not symmetrical. So we could have problems with parts of the breast depending on how baby's suck is working. Maybe the baby can suck really well here, but not well here. Or maybe baby does really well on this breast because of how the head is situated and the tension in the neck is going, but doesn't do as well over here. So the breastfeeding parent might be thinking that they have a problem with one of their breasts when the reality is that something's going on with baby's mouth. So anyway, this detailed health history helps me sort out what is it that's going on with baby, because baby's already been around a long time. Also, the birth process is pretty physical, and even with a gentle birth or a very quick birth, certain torques and twists can happen to the tissue, and we want to see if there's anything that needs to be unwound there. After we do the thorough health history, I wash my hands, and I put on my special jacket. So babies have a lot of fluid. They spit up, they poop, they drool. So I wear one of my chef coats. I don't want to wear a medical thing, because in my office, even though I'm a medical professional, I want us all to be feeling like we're in this together. I have credentials, but you have the best credential. You're the parent of this baby. You know this baby better than anybody else does, which is kind of scary in the beginning, right? Like, you barely know this baby, but no one else knows your baby either. So we're all in this together. I put on my jacket, I go wash my hands. I also put on a mask, which I don't have to do because no one is in here with me. I'll be masking with the babies for a long time to come, partly because I need to keep the babies safe from anything that I've been exposed to, but also I need to keep the babies safe from each other. I don't want to pick up something from one baby and pass it to the next. So I'm going to be keeping a mask on, and I'm going to be asking parents to be keeping their masks on for quite a while, because little tiny babies cannot have masks on, and you'll see more about that in a moment. So when I come back, I'll have my hands washed. The other thing I have is a towel, again, because babies tend to spew things. And I will put a glove on my hand so that when I am able to pick up baby, I will be ready if baby allows me into their mouth. So as I'm approaching baby, I'm in my little jacket. I've got one hand with the glove on, and just so that you can see, I don't know why I'm trying to keep this glove. It's such a habit, like I don't use this hand once I put the glove on, but I really can use two hands. What your baby will see is this. So I'm approaching your baby with the mask on, with my glove on, and it's really important the babies don't feel frightened of me, right? So I'm making lots of cooing sounds. I'm trying to be as relaxed and gentle as possible with my attitude as well as my touch. So then you may continue to hold on to your baby. It's not necessary for me to put your baby here. I can do a lot of work with baby. I can do almost everything I do with baby right here. As a matter of fact, when babies are nursing, it's really great. But this is why the mask is so important. So if this is the nursing parent, if this is the breastfeeding parent, and this is the baby, imagine I'm literally right here, looking at what baby's mouth is doing, checking out how there's a spot under here where I wanna look at that and see what's going on with baby's what's moving through here. So I'm gonna be really, really close to the breastfeeding parent and to the baby. That's why we'll all be masked for some time to come. So anyway, I can work with baby here or here or here. We can set you up in a reclining position if that feels best to you. And I can do almost everything I do with baby right there with you in their safe place where they can smell you and feel really, really good. I do like to get the babies on the table, which is heated, by the way. Get the babies on the table so I can get a sense for their alignment. Sometimes babies have a little C shape to them, and I want to be able to note that and just kind of gently move their fascia around, see where some stiffness is, or if there are places where a baby's spine is doing something interesting, what's going on with their sacrum. And what they naturally do with their heads. Is their head always like this? Are they always turned to one side? Are they preferring to go this way or this way? Just some gentle assessment here, if I can get it. If I can't, that's okay. Babies are always in charge. Now, to give you a sense of the kind of pressure that I use, it's almost undetectable. It's just my hands very lightly resting on a baby. Babies, I like to say that babies are made of Play-Doh and silly putty. So it takes very little pressure to help a baby's fascia move. The weight of my fingers and the heat of my fingers are enough to get things going. And once you get fascia moving in one part of the body, it's very easy to translate it through to the rest of the body. So the important thing for me is to keep baby in a relatively well-regulated state of his or her nervous system. And so it's very possibly right here with the parent, which are sometimes I have both parents here. That makes me really, really happy. So it can be with the breastfeeding parent or the other parent, it doesn't matter. Sometimes baby is very relaxed and happy just to be in my arms. Sometimes we even leave them in the car seat, which is not ideal, but if baby's been particularly unhappy and this is their one time that they are asleep, then we work with them wherever they're at. So the touch is extremely gentle. It can help with all kinds of digestive issues, the alignment of the cervicals, how the balance of the muscles on either side here and all the fascia. I take my finger and I work very carefully into baby's mouth, always with their permission. If they're fighting me, I don't do it. I go in and I feel their gums. I see if they bite down on my finger. I go in and I have techniques for releasing everything in the floor of the mouth. I assess the palate, the hard palate, the shape, and the how narrow or wide the palate is can have a huge effect on breastfeeding. And there are some things that I can do from the inside structures of the body, deep inside the spine, using these fascial techniques that help to encourage that palate to open and move. So there are a lot of pieces to this feeding thing, and it's not just breastfeeding. If a baby is having a hard time breastfeeding, they may have a hard time on the bottle also. And if they're having a hard time feeding because of structures in their mouth or the way their cranial nerves are working, that's something we want to get to now so that they have an easier time going forward as they develop. I also give parents some general guidance for ways to hold their baby and work with their baby so that we are encouraging the baby's structures to move toward function instead of toward dysfunction. Often when we're in our bodies and we're having compensation issues, it's a matter of just turning that ocean liner around so that all of the things that we're doing with our bodies are actually bringing us toward better function instead of rolling away towards dysfunction. And then we have some time for questions. And generally a first appointment is an hour and the follow-ups are half an hour or 45 minutes. And then as we move forward, hopefully we see some changes in a relatively small amount of time. There are some babies who have some really persistent issues, and I will see them more visits and then maybe even go on a maintenance schedule. And then there are some babies who only need 2 or 3 visits and then they're off to the races and everything is fine. So we talk about that because every baby is individual, and so is your family, and what you need is really what's most important. How do we help you get to know your baby in as settled a way as possible? Being a new parent can be really anxiety provoking. So we talk about what kind of support do you have? Where else can you find that support? What are some other ways that you can be working with this new setup in your life of having an infant and trying to balance all the other things that are going on with your family? So we do some talking about that too, and I refer a lot to all kinds of resources as the need for them comes up. So anyway, I hope that you schedule an appointment with me and that we get a chance to talk about your needs and your baby's needs and make some improvements so that you can feel more comfortable with feeding as you move into the future.